excited. So tell the people, why are we excited, babe?
You know, this has been a long time coming. We've been talking about it. We've been planning for it. And we have finally achieved it.
Yes.
We are completely debt-free.
Woo!
Including the house.
Yes! That's so exciting.
No more mortgage. Man, I feel like...
Woo. I feel like I lost weight.
I was like, give us free!
Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Erica Young. And we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it.
The For Better and Worth podcast is sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union, a not-for-profit credit union that helps you take control of your financial future.
As a member of American Heritage, you're an owner. You'll be charged fewer fees, earn more in the form of dividends on your accounts, and have access to lower rates on loans.
Whether your goal is to save for a down payment on a home, create an emergency fund, or build for the retirement you've always dreamed of, American Heritage has the products, resources, and solutions you need.
After all, American Heritage is for the people, not for profit. So to learn more, go to ahcu.co/for better and worth. Good morning.
Uh-oh, it's morning. I hope everybody listening, any time of day, It doesn't matter when you're watching.
It's good morning for us.
Yes, it is. And we are hyped because this is like a celebration of sorts today. Because something significant has happened in our financial life. And if you can't see us because you're not on YouTube, we over here dancing because we're excited.
Exactly. So go to YouTube and you can see all of this.
All this greatness.
Facial expression.
All of our expressions. But we're so excited. So tell the people, why are we excited, babe?
You know, this has been a long time coming. We've been talking about it. We've been planning for it. And we have finally achieved it.
Yes.
We are completely debt-free.
Woo!
Including the house.
Yes! That's so exciting.
No more mortgage. Man, I feel like...
Woo. I feel like I lost weight.
I was like, give us free! So I feel like, I don't know, I feel different, you know?
Yeah.
I was walking around like different, like after we sent that wire transfer, I was like, what?
Yes, it was exciting. So we have been planning this for a while. And then when the moment came and we had all the funds that we could use to pay off the mortgage, the truth is we didn't really know what the process was, right? So we call our mortgage loan servicer and they say they have to issue us a sheet of paper basically that gives the details. And he wanted to know when we were going to do it, right? So
because it changes because they want their interest.
They want
every single day of interest.
So we paid for the entire month, even though we paid it off a full week prior to the month ending.
Right. But, you know, we've owned several houses, and though we bought and sold houses, we hadn't lived in a house, our primary residence, that was totally paid for.
Exactly.
We had mortgages. And you know, on our podcast, we talk about progress over perfection. Could we have done things differently? Sure. But we are where we are today, so don't be no hater.
So we got this sheet of paper. We took it to our credit union. So it really wasn't on that same day because it was about to close on a Saturday. Yeah. And then we took it there on a Monday and went up to the counter and just said, hey, we want a wire transfer. So we did pay for that versus a cashier's check. I'm not trusting the mail system to get this done. For this. I want it immediate. And so we went there. He did all of this stuff, and we actually took a picture with the guy who helped us.
Yeah.
And ironically, he was someone who went to school with our daughter. He knew our daughter. And so it's just interesting that he was the person who got to see us pay it off. So anyway, we're like thrilled that this is now, our current reality, no more mortgages.
Yeah, and I think that was the actions that we took.
Yeah.
And, whenever you pay a mortgage off, you got to get the payoff amount because it's not what you think it is. It's something different. But we've been talking about this for a long time, and we've actually been planning for it. So I think the first thing I would talk about, like for someone else who wants to get there, is you have to start to prioritize and make the major thing the major thing, And that was, we always knew that paying a mortgage off early was our goal. And so what do? When we moved from one state to another and bought another home, we decided first we were going to get a 15-year versus a 30-year. And I think that's the first step that we had to take. And some people will be like, well, man, that's extra money or extra payment. Well, it's extra payment because it's half the time.
Yeah.
So.
And I think in order for us to do that, we had to buy an affordable home on a 15-year.
Yeah.
So it's different. We probably could have afforded more house, like a larger payment or more square footage or whatever it turned out to be, but just a more expensive home if we had done a 30-year. But we decided, no, we want to see what we can afford on a 15-year. And that was very intentional as well.
Yeah, but I also think even doing that, so like just to really help people understand, when we started looking for our next home, we made a decision not only that we were going to get a 15-year and pay it off early, we were going to buy less than we were approved for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we pushed it to a level, or we set an amount that we were willing to spend, which was well beneath what we were approved for and feasibly what we could have probably afforded. But we had a bigger goal, a bigger decision. And that good Midwest living, you can get a lot for your money when we were buying back then. So,
I mean, honestly, the truth is we understand that it's harder in other parts of the country to get affordable housing, affordable mortgages. And I get that was a part of the puzzle. But this is the other thing. It is very tempting. And we have talked about this on the podcast before. It's very tempting to want to go up in house, like to move up, upgrade the whole situation. And in the entire time that we have been here, we have not moved from this home. And so I think keeping up with the Joneses or trying to get something bigger, better, brighter, newer, for instance, because our home is obviously no longer new. But
relatively speaking, the house is like 20 years old.
Or 25? I don't know. But is it 20 years?
Yeah, it's 20 years old.
So that's the thing. It's like
still a relatively new house at 20 years.
Yeah. And so I think there is that temptation to want something where you're moving up. And because honestly, the truth is, I don't think this is the last home that we're going to have.
Probably not.
But because we do have other things that we would love to have. But while we're here, why not pay this joker off?
I think we come back to that, this not being our last home, because I think there's something to talk about. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I have to go back and say that, no matter where you're at, if you're starting this journey and you're trying to make this decision, the first thing you have to do is start with what you said, intentionality. We discussed it, we talked about it, and we just made a decision that one, we were going to pay the mortgage off early. Before we got a mortgage, before we did anything, before we looked for a house, we were on the same page. Well, actually, let me back up, because I think we had talked about it. And at some point, it's important to both of us. But it was like a major priority for me. You're like, well, we'll get there over the course of us paying it off, because you do other things along the way.
Yeah. I think that you were definitely more vocal and more passionate about that being a goal that we prioritized. And I felt like having a 15-year
Was already doing it.
It was doing
Yeah.
good. Like I thought it was doing, I knew that like, okay, we could pay it off earlier if we wanted to. But the other part of this is we did not make extra payments throughout the year or put extra towards the mortgage over that time period because we were secure in the fact that in 15 years, if we did nothing else,
If
we
nothing
knew.
else, the house would be paid off.
Absolutely. And so, but I do think that there's something to be said for, you know, paying it off, living in the home while it's paid off. So like, for instance, I drive my car that is paid off and has been paid off for years, and not having a car payment is freedom, you know? And so
I mean, that car ride's so different.
yes, I mean, and then you take care of it because you want it to last. My car is now, 11 years old?
Yeah.
And so,
But the good thing is that I look at it and I forget that it's 11 years old because it's in excellent shape. You still love the car.
yeah, I do. And I just hit 100,000 miles on it. It's 11 years old and I'm 100, yeah, did I say that?
Yeah, you said it right.
100,000 miles on it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a great car. And our home is a great home. And like, I think us being content with things helps paying off.
Woo.
Wow.
Help me, man, these allergies.
You all right?
Jesus. Woo.
That
I took my allergy med and
it's coming out.
oh my goodness.
All right.
Pray for me, people.
That was one of my sneezes.
I know. I felt it coming. I was like, I just said, I'm gonna let it go.
That was your whole body. That was your whole body.
Oh,
We good?
man.
We
yeah,
good?
we're good.
Okay. All right. But like,
Hopefully that's the only one.
we'll see. We'll see. I done had the moments too.
I know, but I'm not editing that out either.
But I think that like the freedom of it all is what is so exciting. Is being able to sleep in our bed and not worry if anybody can take this from us. Oh my goodness. Like if any type of hardship were to come, we do not have to worry about, typically the mortgage is the biggest payment people have and nobody can take this from us.
I'm laughing because you said nobody can take this from us. And I told my cousin, I didn't tell a whole lot of people, but now we're telling everybody.
Yes, y'all all know.
I told my cousin that we paid it off because he bought and paid cash for a house. And we were on the same, track. And so I told him we were going to pay it off. And he said, let me know you make the final payment. And I told him, and he said, now just make sure you pay the taxes, which we all know. Because if you don't pay the taxes, they can take your house.
Isn't that crazy?
Right.
That's crazy.
And I was laughing when you said, nobody can take it from us now. I was like, well, keep those taxes paid.
That's right. That's exactly right. And and then you have to be intentional because the taxes are due twice a year.
Yeah.
And so you can't mess around and forget. So that's something that's going to be going in our non-monthly account, like that amount that we need for both insurance.
Just saving for it.
Yeah.
Insurance and taxes.
Insurance and taxes. We're going to save for it on a monthly basis. So we always have it ready to go. And I think that, just knowing like, we're saving $1,900 a month, Chris.
Ooh, man, feels good. I'm gonna start playing Tony.
It feels good. It feels good.
Ooh, yeah. I should have had that playing in the background.
I know.
But let's talk about some of the numbers.
Yeah.
Because I hear it all the time. People and financial planners will be like, oh, don't pay your mortgage off. That's cheap debt. You need a write-off. But I'm like, man, forget all of that.
Yeah.
Miss me with that because I'm not trying to hear it.
Yeah.
And here's just some of the numbers, because if you think about a 30-year mortgage with interest.
This is our mortgage. These numbers are our mortgage that we had.
So a 30-year mortgage would have been like $437,000.
In total with the principal plus the interest.
Right. And if you take out the principal, interest, all of that, The actual interest portion of it was $166,000.
On a 30-year.
A 30-year loan. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money.
And guess what? That's on a 3.5% interest rate.
Right. And those rates are not available today.
Exactly.
So you're going to pay more.
Exactly.
But a 15-year, that drops from $437,000 to $348,000. And the interest portion goes from $166,000, or it went from $166,000 to right around $77,000, almost $78,000. That's less. That's
$90,000 difference.
That is huge.
Yes.
We're more than half that money was going to additional interest on a 30-year mortgage.
Yep.
And so we could say we saved at least $90,000 just by going from a 30-year to a 15-year. And I don't know about you, but if you got $90,000 just laying around, email us at For Better and Worth, and we'll make out a payment situation where you can get that money to us. And we will do some things with it, because $90,000 is $90,000.
And we did have to pay, what was it? We had to pay $77,000 in interest on a 15-year.
Yes.
And this last year, so if we did not pay it off today, like this week, then over the course of the next year, it would have only been another $1,000. So most of the interest paid on a loan is front loaded. And so one could argue you could keep the mortgage for a year and not pay it off. But I'm like, it doesn't make a difference. It's $1,000 difference. So we didn't pay it off to save $1,000.
Right.
And I'm not going to keep it and pay $1,000. Like, we have the money. Let's do it. We're making essentially, in our high yield savings, we're essentially making more money than we are in interest. It's about the same, a little bit more. I'm like, we might as well pay it off. No big deal.
And so I guess in full transparency, we paid it off about a year early.
Yes.
But a few years ago, we were discussing paying it off then. And so I hear people say, I don't want to sacrifice lifestyle for that. I don't want to make that sacrifice, but people don't want to make a lot of sacrifices. And so we actually used AI a few years ago.
We did.
And we were like, okay, AI, we've got, this was when we did the renovation.
So it was about a year ago. It was a year ago.
But I have to go back like 2 or 3 years ago, because we could have been paying it off early, like 2 or 3 years ago. But we said, okay, we wanted to do some things to the house, because we said we're going to be here. We're already we're 10 years or so into this loan. So let's say it was about 4 years ago. We had been in the mortgage for about 10 years. And we decided we wanted to start doing some updates. And so we said, okay, we're going to build a patio, or we're going to renovate our kitchen. And then we went on this huge vacation, and we were, trying to figure out what was the right scenario, And so along the way, we've done other things and we made other decisions that kind of prolonged the payoff process. Do I have regrets along the way? Absolutely not. Because like you said it, we made the decision early and were intentional to get a 15-year. So if nothing else, we knew after 15 years, our mortgage would be paid off. But those, I don't want to sacrifice lifestyle folks that are out there listening, we made lifestyle decisions along the way as well, and still paid the mortgage off early.
Yeah.
So it's possible to do both, to have lifestyle and make decisions. Like, we made improvements to our home, but we also did other things with family and took vacations, because we're funding it all with cash.
Yeah. And I think, one, we all know that the limitation that you have is your income, right? So depending on what your income can support, that helps determine how quickly you can go through things. But one, we had no other debt. So we were able to, accelerate, if you will, by still having lifestyle and being able to pay the debt off. We were intentional because, frankly, we used a bonus in order to pay this remaining amount off. And so we were intentional, we were strategic about that. And what that meant this year is we're like, okay, well, we do want new carpet. And we're like, that's just going to be something that happens later on in the year because we can save now.
We've got $1,900 a month free. That, okay, we just save for some months and we'll replace the carpet.
Yeah.
But we've done everything else. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's just the icing on top of
Yeah.
the cake, with what we've chosen to do.
And so I think that, like, you have to figure out what works for you in your financial situation. The other thing is we do dine out. We do enjoy on a routine basis. So like we like the big stuff, right? We enjoy travel. We wanted to remodel the home. Those things were thousands of dollars. Let's be very clear. But the other side of this is that we kind of spend a lot of time like eating at home, and we are pretty intentional about our day-to-day monthly outgo.
Right.
And so we're not overextending ourselves on a monthly basis so that those bigger things can continue to happen. And so you can make your own choices depending on what your income is.
I like the analogy that people have made about life in general, about if you have a jar that's empty, put all the big rocks in first.
Yes.
And, paying a mortgage off was one of the big rocks we put that in. Investing for our future, we put that big rock into the jar. And then, retiring early was a big rock, so we put all those big rocks in the jar. Then you start to fill it in with the pebbles and the smaller things that you want to do. And now that jar looks full, but there's still room. And then you start thinking about the day-to-day activities of life and living. That's the sand. Then you put the sand in the jar. And then it's like, oh, you got some of the unexpected things. Then you pour water in the jar. And so it's like when you put those big rocks in the jar first, you can fill in around it those other things. And when we talk about being intentional, that's what we're talking about. Put the big rocks in the jar first. Because if we had a jar and we filled it with pebbles and sand and water, and then we got these big rocks, like, how are we going to get these big rocks in there when it's already filled with all these other things?
Right.
And that's why paying a mortgage off or paying cash for cars or living differently doesn't work for some people because they left the big rocks out.
Yeah. Or, I think the other part of this is that the other argument I would say people potentially make is they haven't made complete debt freedom a big rock.
Yeah.
And here is why this is important. When I have coached people throughout the years who are in their 50s, I'm always asking them questions about their residence. Is this where you see yourself longer term? Do you think that you're going to move? Or how big is your home? Is it serving your needs?
Right.
Are there any things to think about? And the reason I'm asking this is because in your 50s is when you really need to be thinking about paying this home off if you haven't done so already. And or what is the lifestyle you want? So for some folks, that their lifestyle is not that they want to have the upkeep of an actual home. But that's why I ask these questions, because if you intend to stay there, I think part of your retirement plan ought to be pay the house off.
Right.
Period. Because
Absolutely.
it frees up your cash. It gives you flexibility, especially because in retirement, you're not earning income. Your income's not going up. And so if you're using retirement assets, or if you got a pension or you have Social Security or a combination, likely it is not going to add up to the amount that you're making while you're working. And so if you reduce your outgo, your biggest payment, and don't have it anymore, then that gives you flexibility on a routine basis. And so it's just exciting to say that we're actually here and we get a chance to explore kind of what's next. I don't know that we fully know what's next, but you mentioned something too that I think is really important. Like one of the big rocks that we have this year is to take a nice family vacation. And we set that money aside already. So we could have, again, when we go back to the choices that we make, we could have decided to get carpet in the house. but we decided that wasn't as important as connecting with our family.
Yeah.
And
because we can just save for that
yeah,
later, and we don't have to go into savings for that. And
but it's a choice that
yes,
we make.
absolutely.
And so talking
Absolutely.
through what's important for each of us, I think is a big part of that puzzle.
Yeah. And I think I'll add, like, it became real when, I know you logged into the mortgage servicer account and it said, this loan is paid off. Congratulations on paying off your loan. And by the way, we're available for, your next loan as you need. It's like, shut up.
I
Like, I
know,
do not want to hear that right now.
Not in the same sentence,
Right.
talking about another loan.
Right. And I think the cool thing is that our house has more than doubled in value.
Yes.
Like it doubled. I'll say double plus, because we had neighbors who recently sold, and with all the things that we've done to our house, the value of our house exceeds what they sold for. And so I was like, now this is a major asset.
It is. Yeah.
Because I said I will come back to it, but we choose to leave here and go somewhere else, buy another house. The house is more than double. So now we're in a position to be able to pay cash for every subsequent house that we choose to live in as
we can attempt
our
to.
primary residence, because based on what the price is and what we sell for, we could add money to it and just, pay it off. And so it's just a good feeling to be in that position. And I think it's really like it's the financial, the emotional aspect was like, it was like really like freeing, and just, man, it's like, okay, we pay the electric or the water, or the gas bill, buy food, but life just feels different when you don't have those constraints on you now.
And you know what? So here's what's interesting is I think we agree that this won't be our last home.
No.
I think that there's things that we have talked about, right? Like we want a home where each of our guests has their own bathroom, and this house doesn't have that, and we can't retrofit it to do that. And ideally, I would love to have a ranch style home, and that's not what this
and
is.
where our kids end up,
Exactly.
we'll see where they're at. That may determine where we go.
And so we've talked about these things, and we're open to the idea that this isn't it. But it still became an important thing. And I think it is important for us to acknowledge that and share that, because we know that our plans will eventually change at some point.
Yeah,
and
they
we're
evolve
open for that. But that doesn't mean that this particular goal needed to be put on the back burner. And so, but the other thing that I wanted to say is, like, I'm proud of us. Like,
we saw
I'm
it
so
through.
Proud of us. Like, we saw it through. And that's a really good feeling. My mother, all by herself, she's a single parent, never owned a home on her own and doesn't intend to. And so this is a big deal. And my dad and his wife currently live in a home that they don't own. And so, like, I think that this is a huge milestone in terms of showing our kids what's possible.
What's possible, yep.
And how important it is for us to leave a legacy of freedom. It doesn't have to be a monetary example. Here's cash for you to do whatever you want with. I just want to be able to show.
Here is perseverance.
I want to show you
here
what's
is consistency.
Possible. You know what I mean? Like, this is actually possible at a time where in our life where we're active and having a good time, still working, and like, that is available to them as well. That's a legacy too.
Right. And so I think we started to think about what's next, because now we're waiting to get that deed that says paid, and I can like tuck that away, store that away. But we're gonna celebrate somehow. We may connect with friends, and you talked about having a burn the note party.
I really want to.
Yeah, and we may do that with a small group of friends, just as a symbolic type of celebration. But I think this is really just it's just another check along the way, because we're aggressively saving for retirement. We've paid the home off. And I think the significance about that is like we've already committed to retirement savings. That's already rolling. It's in process. Now we have paid the mortgage off. And so that frees up, your income monthly. And then that opens so many doors. If we choose to retire early, we could be saving in a brokerage account to bridge the gap between retirement age and like Social Security to pay for health care. That creates options. And I love having options. We can just keep saving because you said your car is 11 years old. We've already decided that we're going to replace it. So that's going to be a cash payment. So we could be saving for that. And you have to have monies available because one thing I know about home ownership, it comes with an expense.
Yeah.
Upkeep and maintenance. So now we can just have funds that we're saving for upkeep and routine maintenance. It's really not a surprise anymore.
Right.
We've owned enough homes and I know that the house has to be painted or the water heater has to be changed or this or that, whatever comes along.
We've even done the roof on this house.
Right. I mean, I think we've done everything.
I think we have done like most of the things.
Right. But that's because that's what comes with home ownership. And I think sometimes people don't tell you all of the hidden costs of home ownership. But when you pay the house off, you can keep saving. You can decide if you're going to save for something different because now the next step for us is actually going to be some of the, tactical, some of the logistical things is, now instead of escrowing taxes and insurance, you've got to make sure you're saving for taxes and insurance, which we actually paid our own taxes and insurance previously at other houses. We did it for a while, trying to see if we saved, but honestly, the convenience of it with the mortgage is worth a little. They can have the little interest that they make because the convenience was more important for us. But now we've already created our own process that makes it easy to do that in the non-monthly savings. So when it's time to pay it, it's literally just press a button and transfer the funds.
So we called on a Saturday to pay off our mortgage and learned that we needed a payoff statement that we take to our credit union to pay it off with a wire transfer. And then on Monday, when we did that, when the mail came, we got a personal loan invitation from the loan servicer that our mortgage was with.
That's so funny.
I mean, I can't make this up. It says, fund your next chapter with a personal loan.
Right. So that's like Big Brother is watching and
I'm like, what? Like, it's like when we had this conversation, it triggered them to mail this to us.
Yeah.
And then same day, can't make it up, our daughter gets a credit card offer in the mail. And
we are not making it up.
It's
kept right here.
It because I'm like, what in the world? It's there. The temptation to borrow is always in front of you. There is always going to be a reason that someone is going to give you to borrow money. And I just think that to resist that whole idea, that whole societal norm it's like
the devil. The Bible says, resist the devil and he shall flee.
That's right.
We resist you.
It's right. And I'm like, no way. Like we are, and honestly, I do think that we're a bit of an anomaly, right? I do understand that our stand against debt and credit and loans and all of that is not everybody's cup of tea, but the freedom of it all is so interesting. When you have loans and you're paying Discover 20% interest on the balance, or when you have a personal loan and it's 12% interest every month, like you have to really be clear that whatever it is you put on that thing is worth it,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's ironic, sad, and also enlightening to see that literally the day that we paid a loan off, that more loans could be available to us. And that's crazy.
One of the largest, well, I'll say not the largest, one of the biggest things that cause people to leave this earth early is stress.
Say it again, baby.
Like, it's the stress load of work, of maintaining a family, a household, all those different things, you know. If you have that, it's the stress of managing that. That's the number one cause of people checking out and leaving this earth early.
Yeah.
And when I think about the decisions that we've made and how we've navigated along the way, I've always tried to eliminate that stress. And, you know, I'm a pretty even keel kind of person, you know, low stress, because I don't want those things to cause me to leave this earth early.
Right.
And people, we've made decisions because I love the feeling of like just no stress and not worrying about like paying credit card bills or this. I'd just rather say no to stuff. And I'd rather wait until I can fund it with cash, because I'll tell you, vacation feels so much different when you go and you land wherever you're going and you know, well, everything is already paid for. And I've already budgeted for everything else that will come while we're here. So when we return home, the only thing that we have to worry about is unpacking and washing dirty clothes.
Right.
And that's the only thing I want to worry about is that. And so I would just encourage people, like, think about like the things that are causing you like stress or heartburn, and figure out how you can remove some of those things from your life. Because when you make those decisions and you're intentional up front, and then you work a plan effectively, even when roadblocks or obstacles come along the way, but you get back on track and continue to work that plan, man, the stress of like walking around free, it's a great feeling.
That's awesome. I don't know if that was your make it worth it, but
I think that's a pretty good make it worth it.
That's a pretty darn good one.
My make it worth it was remove stress.
Yes.
Be stress free.
And this did that for us.
Man, we've been stress free along the way.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I'm just like, I'm so chill. I'm frozen.
You so
I'm
silly.
iced out. Like I'm just, you know, like I'm chilling. You know.
So
this is gonna be the new me from here. I'm just chilling.
Just laid back.
Yeah, you know, I'm iced out. You know? I'm so cold right now.
So I want y'all to help us make it worth it. So that this will be my make it worth it. If you have ideas for how we ought to celebrate beyond a burn the note, because we actually, that is something I really want to do when it is not 40 degrees outside.
Yes.
I want to burn the note. But if there are other ideas for helping us to celebrate, and
let us know.
Let us know. We'll take a picture and we'll share it on another.
We might be celebrating for the rest of the year.
No,
so
you're right about that.
If you got ideas, we might do them all. If they make sense.
Let's go.
We might go. You know, burn the note, you know, do to this, do to that, whatever.
There we go. We'll start with burn the note and then we'll see what our listeners say. So anyway, this was so good. I literally am proud of us. We did it. We're a team. And it's a real accomplishment that I'm so thankful that we prioritized.
And if we can do it, you can do it too.
Let's go.
So
until next time,
we're out. Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on ForBetterAndWorth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.